Today we're going to build a really simple bubble plugin that allows you to add these animated snowflakes to your bubble app. To get started, go to the plugin section on your bubble homepage and name your new plugin. We're going to call this animated snowflakes. A couple of things to fill out on the general page here. We already have the name in. As you'll see, we are going to change the logo of this. And we're also going to add in a quick description just to let people know what the app is about. We have to choose a plugin category. It doesn't really fit neatly in any of these categories, so I'm just going to go with containers. Now we're going to go into the Elements tab over here, and we're going to add a new element. We're going to call this Snowflakes, and this is just what's going to appear in the left-hand toolbar on your bubble editor when you can choose different elements. We're going to leave this as a visual element. We're going to change the icon here. We're going to search for snow, and handily we do have this snowflake icon, which fits perfectly. For bubble properties, we're not going to make this resizable. We don't need this to stretch and slim down as appropriate. We're not going to make it responsive because it isn't going to show on the page. We can leave all of these unticked and just leave the support standard visible one ticked. We're going to make the default dimensions quite small. We're going to make it 40 by 40. And then we're going to get into the code. So this is a very simple plugin. And what we're going to do is we're going to borrow some code from this codepen.io piece of code here. So let's copy all of this HTML code here. Let's go back into our bubble plugin editor, and we're going to put this in the header section. So what's going to happen here is that every single time we drag the snowflake element onto a particular bubble page, this code is going to be applied to the header. So I think it might be a good time now to preview this just to see what we're working at so far. So the way you test out plugins is you need a specific app to test a plugin in. So I'm going to use my nocode builds app here. You can see at the moment I've removed the original plugin and it's all blank. This page is literally just a piece of text in a container. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the plugin editor and we're going to put in nocode builds. And we're going to say go to test app. We'll then be brought back into our bubble page builder in the nocode builds app, and we should have an option to put snowflakes on the page. Okay, so we're back in the nocode builds page builder. I'm just going to shut down the original one to avoid confusion. And what you can see is we do have this snowflakes element available in the visual elements section of the page. And if we go into plugins, what you'll see is the animated snowflakes plugin is there, and the testing next to it indicates that this is just in testing. You will not be able to find this in the actual app, plugin directory at this stage. So let's add in the snowflakes and see how it looks. So again, this is going to apply to the header. And if we go to preview, we should see something new come up on the page, albeit we'll still need to do a bit of work to get that nice animated effect. Okay, so you can see at the moment it's just adding those snowflakes to the header. Not much animation, not particularly good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the codepen.io page and we're going to copy the CSS. And we're going to append the CSS to the end of the HTML code. In order to make this work, you will have to put in style tags. So we're going to put in style. We're going to put in the closing style. And then we're going to put in the CSS in between these two style tags. So let's do that now. Okay, so let's go back to our app and see if that makes a bit of a difference. I'm hoping to see some sort of animation now. And sure enough, we're getting there. So that's a bit better. I still like to improve it a bit. So we're going to go back into the code and change just a couple of things. First of all, we don't need this demo here. I'm not really sure why that's there, to be honest. So let's delete this code at the very end. In fairness, they have marked that it's for demo purposes only quite clearly. So we're going to get rid of that. We're also going to increase the size of the snowflakes. So we can change that by putting it up to 3. And we're going to get rid of the red background. I don't think it's going to show anyway, but no need to have it in there. So let's try this again and see what happens. Hopefully the snowflake should be a bit bigger, a bit whiter. And sure enough, that looks as though it's working pretty well. So quite simple so far. And what we could do at this stage is actually publish it. But what I am going to do is you'll notice if you go back into the editor here, you have this kind of ugly looking, it actually says no plugin preview available. You can't see it because it's just a bit small, but we're going to put in an image there just to make it a bit more attractive when we're in the bubble editor. Now, this does require code. Unfortunately, there's no place to just drop in an image. But what we can do is we go back to general and we go into, sorry, I should say shared. If we go into shared, you can upload shared assets and resources. So we can upload pictures here that we can use. So I'm going to upload a file now and I'm going to call it snowflake icon. Perfect. We now have a link to this snowflake icon, which is quite important. We can copy this by clicking on it. And the next thing we need to do is go back into our elements, and we're going to add some code just below here on the function preview section. So the nice thing about open source plugins is you can really see what other people do. And I did notice that this Air Datetime Picker from Code did have a nice preview image when you put it in the page builder. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to look at their code and use it for my own purposes. So we're in their element tabs, and there's actually quite a bit going on with this plugin. But if we scroll down to the section where they have the code for their preview, what we'll see is we do have something here we can use. Update preview. Yeah, so what this is going to do is you can see they have a link in here to an image source, and they also have their own plugin logo. But what we can do is we can take this and we can use it and put in our own image. So we're going to go back to our own function preview. We're going to get it up here. Then we're going to go back to our shared assets. We're going to copy this. We're going to go back to elements, and we're going to replace this link here with our own image. So just put that in there, and that should work nicely. So let's go back into our builder and refresh it and see if we notice any difference. Sometimes with plugins you do have to refresh. It doesn't seem to automatically update as you might expect. We do now see that there's a bit of an icon there instead of the not so nice text. It's not perfectly sized, which is why that scroll bar is there, I think, but this is going to do for our purposes today. So pretty happy with the plugin at this stage. I think we can go and try and publish it. So at the moment, the plugin distribution license is on nothing. We're going to give this open source MIT, so pretty much everyone can use it. We're going to submit a new version. Description / changelog is going to just be simple as initial release. And we're going to submit that. And hopefully then it should be available for everybody to use in the Bubble plugin directory. So let's take a look and see if that's worked. We're going to go back into our no-code build editor here. We can go to plugins. We can see this is a testing one. We're going to go to add plugins, and we're going to go to animated snowflakes. And it looks as though only the testing version is showing up at the moment. And I think the reason for that is we actually have to refresh our Bubble app to allow it to become in the plugin directory here. So let's just try that and see what happens. So let's try that again. Go to add plugins, type in animated snowflakes. As I'm sure people are aware, sometimes it can be painfully slow searching for plugins via this method. So if we just give it a second, hopefully it'll show up here. And sure enough, you can see our new animated snowflakes plugin is now available. So let's install that and we'll be able to use it. We're going to get rid of the initial testing one just for clarity purposes. Go back to our design editor, get rid of the old one, and we're going to put in the new one, snowflakes here. And let's just make sure that that works on our new page. The only change here, we shouldn't actually see any change here because the initial testing app was live on this one. We now have the new one. Great. So that's now available for everybody to use in the Bubble plugin directory. Hope this was useful. If you would like to see some further Bubble videos, please do subscribe to the channel.